I'm just going to ask this question. I know it sounds infused when I ask it, but how does Hugh Freeze get a job in the SEC again?
You know, the SEC and especially Auburn, it's really all about, can you win there or not? They're not, you know, it has nothing to do with whether you're graduating players or anything like this. He has a lot of scandalous baggage. Can you
run through it for people here?
We don't even have enough time.
I know, because the reason why I ask is, if you had told me, okay, on the set of the NFL draft in Chicago, when the video of Laramie Tunsil comes through and everything else that came out after that from social media DMs and things of that nature that showed that the coaching staff was 1,000,000% involved with giving Laramie Tunsil benefits that were beyond illegal, and then walk me through the rest of it here.
I think the stuff with the NCAA violations, I think that is less problematic in this day and age, because honestly, people inside the sport know a lot of that stuff has been going on, and people are just either
paying electric bills and things like that.
Better at getting around it than Ole Miss was. I think the thing that is more problematic is the ethical stuff of, you know, when you go through his phone records, as the school did, and you find out that he is calling escort services and that kind of involvement. And I think where it goes even worse, you know, just from an optics standpoint, is he has been very public about his faith and talking about certain things. And it was like, you know, there's a lot of coaches who don't profess to be the greatest human being. They just, you know, whatever they are, they are. I think whereas Freeze has talked so much about faith, there was a gotcha moment to that when it was like, you know, you really stepped in it here. I think going forward, where it's also problematic for him was the involvement of, he's in direct messages to a woman is a survivor of some also horrific stuff that had gone on, over at Liberty that wasn't directly related to him, but he went in to defend his athletic director, Ian McCaw. By the way, Ian McCaw, this is a very Liberty thing, was the AD who was involved at Baylor, where quite honestly some even worse stuff than than what happened at Ole Miss. And so he's defending Ian McCaw. And to go forward on this, I think the biggest problem Freeze has, with this stuff is he cannot get out of his own way. And so sometimes I think he can, through insecurity or whatever, he feels like he needs to win over and people who are skeptics of him, or people question him, or question the people around him, rather than just, there's a bunch of coaches who just, they don't care. They don't care. Whereas I think he cares about that perception. He fights it. He ends up getting trapped into it in like quicksand. And at the end of the day, if you're Auburn, they just want a guy who can win in the SEC, and they know he can. They know he can beat Nick Saban. He's a really good play caller. He is a really... Yeah,
but the guys that he had because he
no, look at what he had at... Wait, in his defense, when he got to Liberty, like nobody was talking about Malik Willis.
And I understand that. And we had Hugh Freeze on this program, and I didn't ask him about anything of what we've just discussed. He couldn't have been nicer and kinder, because we had him on to talk about Malik Willis before the draft, because I was curious about the kid and what he was doing there. And he came on, and like I said, he couldn't have been more personable and whatever. But we're now talking about an SEC program, and I also have a little bit of an axe to grind too. Your colleague, our colleague, I guess, Brett McMurphy, put out a tweet saying that Deion Sanders... some programs were not going to touch him because of whatever might have been alleged to have happened with his Truth Academy, when he was in youth athletics in Texas. Yeah. And I'm thinking to myself, really? You're saying that about Deion, who is as above board as I think? Clearly, I am biased. I love the guy, but I would hitch my wagon to Deion Sanders 1,000,000 times out of 1,000,000 and not be concerned about anything that's below board. And this guy gets a gig at Auburn? Are you serious?
I think Auburn's calculus here is,
really?
If Hugh Freeze, there's coaches who, if it doesn't work out for them, you're kind of stuck with them because their character is such where you're not going to be able to fire them for cause. You're going to have to you're going to have to, bite the contract. I think there's probably people looking and go, if this goes bad, we can probably fire him for cause.
Catch the Rich Eisen Show every single day on the Roku channel, 12 to 3 Eastern, for free.